Before he became the 38th President of the United States, before he was thrust into the chaos of Watergate or stood at the helm of a healing nation, Gerald Ford was simply a young man with a quiet charm, a winning smile, and a heart waiting to fall in love. In the shadowy corridors of Cold War Washington, where secrets, politics, and power intersected, rumors of espionage and seduction swirled around some of the nation's most powerful men. Among those entangled in the whispers was Gerald R. Ford, the 38th President of the United States, a man long celebrated for his integrity, steady demeanor, and decades-long marriage to First Lady Betty Ford. Yet beneath his clean-cut image, a surprising allegation emerged, one that would place him in the same controversial spotlight as John F. Kennedy. At the heart of this claim was Ellen Romich, a striking East German woman who was believed to be an intelligence operative, a spy sent from the Eastern Bloc at the height of Cold War tensions. Romich, whose beauty and charm reportedly opened doors into some of Washington's most exclusive circles, allegedly engaged in intimate relationships with several high-profile American officials. The story gained traction from Bobby Baker, a former Senate aide and close confidant of then Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson. Baker, known for his deep entanglement in the political underworld of D.C., revealed to Politico that he had personally introduced Romich to President John F. Kennedy. According to Baker, Kennedy later thanked him for what he called the best head job he'd ever had. Such crude language shocked many and painted a salacious portrait of a presidency already marred by multiple rumors of infidelity. But Baker didn't stop at JFK. In what would become a more controversial and lesser-known twist, he claimed that Romich had also been involved with Gerald Ford during his time as a congressman. Baker went even further, alleging that the FBI possessed a surveillance tape, one that captured Ford receiving oral sex from Romich. If true, the implications were staggering. A future president entangled with an East German spy, potentially compromising national security at the highest levels. Romich herself was eventually deported back to East Germany under mysterious circumstances, her time in the United States ending as abruptly as it had begun. The official reasons were vague, further fueling speculation that her departure was not merely a matter of immigration policy, but an urgent national security decision intended to prevent a political scandal from erupting. David Horrocks, the former chief archivist of the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Library and Museum, strongly refuted the allegations. In an interview with Politico, he expressed deep skepticism, stating, "It's so out of character for the Ford that I knew." For many who worked closely with the president, the image of Ford engaging in such behavior was inconsistent with the man they remembered: disciplined, moral, and profoundly devoted to his wife, Betty. Gerald Ford served as president from 1974 to 1977, taking office after the resignation of Richard Nixon and amid a time of national disillusionment. His presidency was marked by efforts to restore trust in government, a pursuit that made any hint of scandal especially damaging. For decades, he remained respected for his straightforward nature and statesmanlike conduct, a legacy that such accusations, if ever proven true, would complicate immensely. Still, questions linger. Was this another smear campaign born in the brutal arena of DC politics? Or was it a carefully covered Cold War affair buried beneath layers of secrecy, privilege, and strategic deportation? The truth remains elusive. Ellen Romich never publicly confirmed or denied the affairs. Bobby Baker, whose own reputation had been tainted by scandal, stood by his claims. And Gerald Ford, who passed away in 2006, never addressed the matter directly. Whether fact or fabrication, the allegations add another layer of intrigue to a volatile era in American history, one in which spies, seduction, and politics often dance dangerously close together. Gerald Ford's journey from decorated war veteran to the highest office in the land accelerated rapidly. Ford had served with distinction in World War II from 1942 until the war's end in 1945, commanding a Navy aircraft carrier unit in the Pacific and earning several commendations for his service. Upon returning home, he resumed civilian life by launching a law practice in Grand Rapids and immersing himself in local Republican politics. But even amid his growing political ambitions, Ford's love for football remained undiminished. So much so that during his honeymoon, he surprised his new bride by taking her to a Michigan State University Rose Bowl playoff game against Northwestern University, proving that his passion for the sport was a lifelong affair. Later that same year, Ford won a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives, beginning a long and respected congressional career that would span 25 years. During this time, he earned a reputation as a principled and level-headed legislator, culminating in his appointment to the Warren Commission, the group tasked with investigating the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. In December 1973, amid political turmoil, President Richard Nixon appointed Ford as vice president after Spiro Agnew stepped down in disgrace following tax evasion charges. Less than a year later, as the Watergate scandal consumed Nixon's presidency, Ford found himself thrust into history. On August 9, 1974, following Nixon's resignation, Gerald R. Ford took the oath of office as the 38th President of the United States, becoming the first person to hold both the vice presidency and presidency without being elected to either position. During Gerald Ford's presidency, Betty Ford initially tried to maintain a low profile, embracing the traditional role of First Lady with grace and warmth. But her quiet strength soon gave way to courageous advocacy that would leave a lasting impact on American society. In 1974, as her husband's presidency neared its end, Betty broke decades of silence surrounding women's health by publicly revealing her diagnosis of breast cancer. At a time when such subjects were rarely discussed openly, her honesty shattered stigmas and sparked a national conversation, encouraging countless women to seek early detection and life-saving treatment. Yet her bravery didn't end there. After leaving the White House, Betty once again stepped into the public eye, this time to share her deeply personal battle with addiction to alcohol and prescription painkillers. Rather than hide her struggle, she confronted it head-on, using her experience to help others. In 1982, she founded the now-renowned Betty Ford Center at the Eisenhower Medical Center in Rancho Mirage, California, a groundbreaking addiction treatment clinic that would go on to help thousands reclaim their lives. Her unwavering advocacy earned widespread admiration, and in 2005, Gerald Ford honored her extraordinary contributions by presenting her with the Gerald R. Ford Medal for Distinguished Public Service. The couple, who had spent nearly 6 decades together, remained symbols of resilience and devotion until the end. Gerald Ford passed away on December 26, 2006, at the age of 93. Betty followed 5 years later, on July 8, 2011, also at the age of 93, leaving behind a legacy not just of public service, but of empathy, courage, and compassion that continues to inspire generations. In the end, Gerald and Betty Ford's story was more than just a tale of politics and power. It was a testament to love, resilience, and partnership. Through war in Washington, triumphs and trials, their bond never wavered. Together, they redefined what it meant to serve, not only their country, but each other. Betty stood by Gerald's side as he stepped into history, and he stood by hers as she stepped into advocacy, breaking barriers and saving lives. Their legacy is not only etched in presidential records and historic moments, but in the quiet strength of a love that endured for over 50 years. As they both passed away at the age of 93, they left behind not just a nation forever changed, but a timeless reminder that the most powerful stories often begin and end with love.